Hey everybody, welcome back to Living in Charlotte NC, our YouTube channel that talks just about things around Charlotte, the neighborhoods, the suburbs, activities, attractions all around the Charlotte market. Today what we're going to do is something a little bit different. We're going to give you a map tour focused on the satellite city of Gastonia, North Carolina, so stick around. So I'm Dave DeSilva with Long Chat Realty, brokered by eXp Realty right here in Charlotte, North Carolina. If this is your first time to the channel, please find that subscribe box down below and hit the bell, and you'll be the first to know when we get new videos posted on all things about Charlotte. We try to give you the good, bad, and the ugly, and today we're doing, like I said, something different. We're giving you a map tour of the Gastonia region, and I'll tell you how we're going to do that in a second. But just as an FYI, we get calls, texts, emails all the time from folks like you who are looking to find out a little bit more about the general Charlotte market, and that includes Gastonia in this sense. And so what we try to do is answer your text, answer your calls, and sometimes get on a Zoom call with you. So look in the description down below again, and you'll be able to set up a Zoom call with us. We have a link down there. We'd love to talk to you. But whether you're coming here in 10 days, 10 weeks, or 10 months, it's never too early to get on with us, ask us questions, help set up a tour for you when you get here and you start looking at the area. And I think the most important part is asking those questions to find out if this really is the sort of region that would appeal to your likes and dislikes. So don't hesitate to get on with us. We'd love to talk to you. So like I said, what we're going to do today is we're going to start out at about 50,000 feet, and it's much higher than that. We're going to give you an overview of the region around Charlotte, as far out as the coast, the Atlantic coast, up towards Kitty Hawk, then out west towards Knoxville, down southwest to Atlanta, southeast to Savannah. We're going to kind of cover all the things around there in general, including major routes of transportation, and like I said, some of the lakes maybe, the mountain area, all that good stuff. And then we're going to zoom in a little bit more on the Charlotte market and show you where Gastonia is in relationship to the city of Charlotte, and then go over those routes of transportation again, and then again more highlights that are much more regional. And finally, we're going to zoom right in on Gastonia and show you some of the highlights of Gastonia, maybe some of the parks, the schools, the museums, favorite place to have a beer, some of the mountains in the area, and then the lakes and that sort of thing. So that's what we're going to do in this video. So stick around. I think I said stick around already. So stay with us while we go ahead and pull up that map. All right, everybody, we're back on the map. You can probably see me down in one of the corners here. Maybe I'm going to be looking down a little bit because I am identifying places on a map for you. And what I'm going to do is use this little marker here to start out with the city of Charlotte and then show you where Gastonia is in relationship to Charlotte. So there we go. That's our two subjects here: Charlotte, the entire market around it, and then today we're talking about Gastonia and giving you that map tour of Gastonia. So what I like to do a lot of times is start out with the major routes of transportation right around the marketplace here. And what the first one is Route 85. This is it's a northwest route, but it looks like it's a northwest. It's a north-south route, but it always looks like it's going east-west. So here's Route 85 that's heading up towards Greensboro, then goes over to Raleigh-Durham, and then cuts up towards Richmond, Virginia. And that's about 5.5, 6 hours away from Charlotte and Gastonia. So that's the major, it's a north-south route, but it looks like it's going east-west. Next, we've got 77, and let me pop my little marker on here again. 77 goes north to south. In this sense, goes right through Charlotte, and it is just east of Gastonia, and goes through Columbia. And then from Columbia, what you want to do is jump on 26. That heads to Charleston. That's about 4 hours away. That's the beach. You can take 26 also down here in Spartanburg to head up towards Asheville, right here. That's about 2 hours away, and it didn't give you any time on Atlanta. Atlanta's about 4 hours away from Gastonia. Another major route is around Charlotte. That is 485. That's pretty important around Charlotte. And then we're going to hit a couple of these smaller ones. Route I-40 goes east-west if you head up north a little bit from Charlotte on 77, and it goes over to Asheville or up towards Winston-Salem in Greensboro. And there's Winston-Salem. And then there's Greensboro. That's about an hour and a half, 2 hours away, give or take, from Gastonia, depending on traffic. I always say depending on traffic. If you're looking at going to Knoxville, you'd take 40 from Asheville over through the mountain range and then head over to Knoxville. And that's about 4.5 to 5 hours. Let me see. I've got the good. Actually, that's 3.5 hours from Gastonia, a little bit further from South Charlotte, where I live. Columbia, about 2 hours from Gastonia. There you go, Columbia, South Carolina. We're going to look at jumping on Route 74, which is over here. And that starts Uptown Charlotte and heads all the way over to the beach, go through Lumberton, Rockingham, and hit Wilmington. There you go. And from South Charlotte, that's about 3 hours. From Gastonia, that's about 4 hours, give or take, again, depending on traffic. Now, if you really want to do some traveling from Raleigh, you would stay on 40 and then jump on 87 and head over towards the coast. And if you're going to get to the East Coast up in that Kitty Hawk Duck area, that's going to be about 6 hours, 6.5 hours of long travel from Gastonia and from Charlotte. So one of the other major cities I always like, major cities, a big city in North Carolina I always like to talk about is Fayetteville. And again, that's about 3.5, 4 hours, maybe 3.5 hours east of Gastonia and Charlotte. Something I see on this map now, it says Fort Liberty, but to me that's always going to be Fort Bragg. Home of the 82nd Airborne. When I was in the Army, I was in the 7th Group there out of Fort Bragg. But that's an easy transportation route along 74. And then I think it's 421 up towards Fayetteville. So what else do we have around here as major cities? I'm probably going to miss a couple. I'm going to make a couple people upset if I don't mention their favorite places. If you're a golfer, Augusta, down south, you would head to Columbia. And then it's another hour from Columbia on 26 to Augusta. The Masters, of course, is held there every year. One claim to fame that I will talk about over here in Raleigh is that's the home of the Wolfpack, NC State. A little bit further north of Gastonia, if you head up 321, you're going to end up in Boone in the mountains in North Carolina. And that is the home of the App State Mountaineers. So my daughter went to App. One son went to NC State. The other one was way out here in the west, went to Murray State. That's way out there, somewhere out there. Let's see, what else do we have here? Lots of mountains to the west up here. And you're going to get to the mountains in probably 2 hours or less from Gastonia. And of course, you've got the beaches. You've got Wilmington. South of Wilmington is Oak Island. Then you've got Myrtle Beach down here. And that's about a 4-hour drive from Gastonia. Trying to think of anything else major, not on this map that I can identify right now. Outer Banks, Kitty Hawk, Fayetteville, Charleston. Savannah's just south down this direction. You would take 95. Most likely to Savannah, off at 26, and that's going to take you probably about 4 hours from Gastonia. So mountains, lakes, you got Lake Norman up north here, and that's about an hour north, about an hour north, depending on traffic, maybe 40 minutes. Lake Wiley down here is about 20 to 30 minutes south of Gastonia, again, depending on where you are in Gastonia. And that's it for the major lakes in the area. And I think what we're going to do now is jump in a little bit closer. We're not here necessarily to talk about these places. We just kind of want to give you that map tour, show you where Gastonia sits on the map over in the East Coast area, and then in relationship to some of these major cities that are regional cities, not New York City type cities. All right, so here we are a little bit closer to the Charlotte and Gastonia area, and we're going to highlight again things that are more regional, not 4, 5, 6 hours away, but more like 30, 40, 45 minutes, maybe an hour away, and something here or there that might be a little bit further away. But again, you've got Charlotte right here, and this is a better idea of where Gastonia is, just to the west of Charlotte. And you've got some of these little places around here that are technically part of Gastonia. So there we are. Again, we've got Route 85 that goes right through Gastonia and then right through the north side of Charlotte. Oops. Now, let me go up there. And heads on up, like I said, to Richmond. See, then you've got 77, again, coming down east of Gastonia and splits Charlotte down to the suburb of Rock Hill. And that is one of the larger satellite cities, suburbs around Charlotte. The other major routes of transportation from Charlotte, here's 74, like I said before, that'll take you out to the beaches. Here is 485 that circles Charlotte. It was started over 25 years ago and just finished maybe, could be 5-6 years ago, so that's not too bad. And then within Charlotte, inside the city area, can't see it too well here, you've got 277, which circles Metro Uptown Charlotte, so the central business district of Charlotte. One little route is Route 74, again, that we went to the beach on, but that does go through Gastonia. That's another way to get home if you need to travel a different way than jumping on 85. So that's a nice route to know about. So there you go with the major routes around Charlotte and Gastonia. Last one we'll talk about heads north-south from Gastonia up into Boone. That's Route 321. I love 321 because I was always on that the last number of years, taking my daughter back and forth up to App State. Just an awesome place to visit up in the mountains in central North Carolina. So I think those might be the major routes that we want to talk about here. If you got any if we get closer to Gastonia, we can do that. So nice things again. You've got Lake Norman up to the north. You've got the Catawba River and Lake Wiley to the southeast. And some of that goes into South Carolina. You're going to see the North Carolina-South Carolina border right here, south of Gastonia. Let's see. I want to hit some of the suburbs of Charlotte and the Gastonia area. Some of these are going to be mainly Charlotte suburbs like Davidson, Cornelius, Huntersville, Kannapolis, Concord to the northeast of Charlotte, Harrisburg. And then as you're heading down to the southeast side, you've got Mint Hill, Matthews, Monroe. Of course, you've got another satellite city. It's not really a suburb, but that's of Monroe. Weddington to the south, Waxhaw, Indian Land, that's on the South Carolina side. Pineville, that's North Carolina. Fort Mill, again, all this stuff is bordering right here, North Carolina, South Carolina border. So some of these are on the South Carolina side, some of them on the North Carolina side. Pineville off of Route 51 on the southwest side of Charlotte. You've got Lake Wiley, which is an Antigua Cay, little island or little lake towns. Belmont, very nice city. I did a video, maybe we can point to that on Belmont a little while back. A great little city, some nice communities in Belmont. Then, of course, you got Mount Holly, Stanley. These are more suburbs of around Gastonia, not necessarily Charlotte. Stanley wouldn't be considered a Charlotte suburb, probably. But you got Bessemer City, you got Kings Mountain area, and I'll talk about that in a second. Let's see, what else do we have? That's enough for now, unless I can think of something. But nice places around Gastonia. You get Kings Mountain, which is a national battleground. We'll cover that a little bit more. Mount Holly's got a great little lakefront, riverfront community there. Over to the east, you've got the Uwharrie Mountains. If you want to do some hiking, that's going to be a good 2-hour drive from Gastonia, but you can do a lot in the Uwharrie Forest. You can do some hiking, you can do some trail running, take your Jeep if you've got a Jeep and do some 4-wheel driving out there. Great place to just hang out in the mountains. It's got mountains. Again, mountain range to the west, right near Gastonia, a couple hours away at the most. Over to the east, like I said before, you've got the beaches, and then we're going to zoom in a second. But one thing I want to point out here before we zoom in too much, Douglas International Airport, 30 minutes away. And then you've got the Whitewater Center, which is on the north side of 85, just a few miles outside of Gastonia. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to zoom right in right now on Gastonia, talk a little bit more about that specifically and some of the things that are really endearing people to the Gastonia area. Okay, we've got one more section to go as we fill out the rest of our map tour on Gastonia, North Carolina, the Charlotte suburb, satellite city suburb just to the west of Charlotte. And if you like what you're seeing right now, please go ahead and click that like button, subscribe to our channel, leave some comments, tell us what you do like, what you don't like, what you'd like to hear more about. We'd love to listen to your comments and read the comments, and we do reply to everything. So please go ahead and do that. And just 1 second from now, we're going to go ahead and jump on the map here and show you a little bit closer in to Gastonia, North Carolina. So stick with us. Okay, so here we go. We are looking at right in here, if you can see my little pencil going around, that is Gastonia, North Carolina. Again, Charlotte is over here to the west. This is the 485 and 85 intersection. 485, like I said, here circles Charlotte. 85 is in actuality, the east-west route that goes from Richmond, so that's kind of northeast, all the way down to Atlanta, and passes over to the north side of Charlotte and actually through Gastonia. And then here again, we've got 321, which goes up to Boone and then passes through down to Crowder's through Gastonia. Here's another valuable route. This is 74, which goes through Gastonia. That's the main side of Main Street in Gastonia. Just about. It's not Main Street, but it is a main thoroughfare. Crosses over the Catawba River, goes through Charlotte, and then down to the beach, the Atlantic Ocean in Wilmington. So what we're going to do is, again, highlight some of the things that are just in Gastonia, and then we're going to zoom in and out a little bit to show you the historic district. So here we go. Let's see, what do we want to take a peek at? Let's start on the east, right over here. And if you can see that, that is Charlotte Douglas International Airport, one of the busiest airports in the world. And it is, I think, the 7th busiest as far as incoming and outgoing passengers go in North America right now. So very busy airport there in Charlotte. It serves the whole region very well. Excuse me. Up here a little bit is the U.S. National Whitewater Center. Great place to go to spend the day hiking. You can go trail riding there. You can go zip lining. You can go wall climbing. And of course, it's a whitewater center, so you can take your kayak and jump in the water there, or even a raft. They do have rafting adventures there. So really fun. One place I want to identify, here it is right here, if you can see me, that's McAdenville. And McAdenville is known for their thousands, probably tens or hundreds of thousands of Christmas lights that the whole town display during the Christmas season. So if you're riding on 85 and all of a sudden you come across a traffic jam around early December, mid-December, and you're wondering what's going on, it's probably people trying to get into McAdenville, where they will trail you around in a certain method and then back out the other side to see the lights. It is pretty cool. So if you live in the Charlotte area, or if you're traveling around here around Christmas time, stop in there and check out the lights in McAdenville. So that is very cool. One place I wanted to identify, let's see, where are we? Some of the parks that we talked about when I was doing my little piece on, or my little video on Gastonia. And the one right here is the first part, and that is Rankin Lake Park. Beautiful park. Foliage comes out in October, November, December time frame, maybe a little bit later down here than it does up in New England, but you'll see some great colors. If you're sitting here on the east side of the park, you'll see them over here across the lake on the west side of the park. So fantastic looking colors. You can catch the Carolina Thread, which is a very popular and very long trail system throughout North and South Carolina around the Charlotte region and Gastonia region. So that's fantastic there. Let's see, George Poston Park. We talked about that. I've had my kids play soccer over there a number of times. That is a very big facility. You got some fields, and lots of people are just having a good old time at George Poston Park throughout the entire year. Let's see, Lindbergh. We're going to have to zoom out a little bit closer to see Lindbergh Park. That's down here in the middle of Charlotte, of Gastonia. If you head down to the southeast a little bit of Gastonia, you're going to run across Daniel Stowe Botanical Gardens. I've talked about that in many videos. It is a place where you've got tons of orchards, you've got all sorts of plant life, you can walk through there, you can have events there, they have weddings there. It's just a huge facility, and it's pretty awesome looking. So that's kind of cool down there to the southeast of Gastonia. Let's see, what else do we have up here? You've got Dallas, a little suburb of Gastonia. That used to be the county seat prior to 1877. I think that is when Gastonia became the county seat of Gaston County. And again, Gastonia is the second largest of the satellite cities around Charlotte, with about 80,000 plus population. The largest is Concord to the northeast of Charlotte, with about 100,000 plus people up there. What else do we have? We've got Crowder's Mountain down to the southwest. That is a great hiking location. Lots of people from Charlotte will trek out there every weekend to do some of the mountain hikes. A little bit further southwest of Crowder's Mountain is Kings Mountain. That is also a National Revolutionary War battlefield. I've been camping out there plenty of times with my family. Kids love it. You can go hike the battlefield. It is a hilly hike, so you'll get some exercise. Then they've got a little museum there, and they'll do reenactments as well. And if you camp out at Kings Mountain Campground, which is on the South Carolina side of the border, you can hike around there. You can have a fire, sit around the fire, cook some food, enjoy the playground. They used to have a little paddle boats down on a pond within the camping area. So that's kind of cool. Let's see, what else do we have out here? Spencer Mountain is just right out here. That is the little town, and it's also Spencer Mountain Village. But it's a little town, it's a little mountain area, so you can go running around Spencer Mountain as well. Lots of little things to do in the Gastonia area. What I want to do is highlight Gaston Country Club. That is a local location where you can go and enjoy the country club area. It's got a golf course down there, just right outside south of Gastonia. And what else is there? I think what we're going to do is zoom in a little bit. Here we go, if I can do that. Well, I might have to zoom in and yeah, we're going to take a 30-second break on my part, probably 1 second on your part, and then zoom in and show you a little bit more of downtown Gastonia. All right, so we are back in Gastonia, and this is the historic district right around here. And it's pretty cool if you drive down there. You got Main Street, and then you got 74, and 74 is that east-west route that goes all the way through Charlotte to the beach, and then all the way west of Gastonia. And this is Main Street right up here. Goes all the way out in this direction. But if you drive down Main Street, East Main to West Main, you're going to see all sorts of older buildings. You've got a very old post office that's still an active post office on the left side or the south side. You got the Pita Wheel, and I think the post office is right across the street from it. Pita Wheel, just a place to eat. The Esquire Hotel, which is now I think it's Barrister's Restaurant, but it was a bank, one of the first banks in the area. All the attorneys had their offices in there. You've got a lot of shops and places to eat along West Main Street on the north side and the south side. And if you come all the way over to the end of Main Street right here, what you're going to find, well, besides Dirty Bull Brewing Company, right here on the east side of North Trenton, you're going to find Caramount Health Park. And that is a big, giant facility right out here. It's a baseball facility. Beautiful synthetic turf fields. It is gorgeous. I think we've got a little bit of B-roll we can run through and show you some of that park. But it's an awesome place for baseball. And Gastonia does have a minor league baseball team. They're called the Honey Hunters, and they're in the Atlantic League. And that is an affiliate with Major League Baseball. So you can get some top-notch baseball out of Gastonia as well. But what's going on here is something called Fuse, and that's the Franklin Urban Sports Entertainment Complex. And that's all around here where a lot of updating and building is going on. We're going to do a video later on down the road about Fuse, the Franklin Urban Sports Entertainment Complex. But right now you've got a fantastic baseball field. You've got a number of other buildings that are getting renovated. Of course, like I said, you've got Dirty Bull Brewing. On the other side of town, you've got Cavendish Brewing Company. That is one that is got a lot of craft beers. You've got Ray Country Smoker Grill House right down in here. Lots of places to stop in Gastonia, spend a day, and enjoy the food and the sights. A place that I dropped off, and I had a couple of pictures of it, I dropped by, is that American Military Museum in Gastonia. Lots of history going on in Gastonia, a place that if you live in Charlotte and you're not from the region, maybe you didn't spend enough time looking in Rock Hill and in Gastonia, but if you go to some of these suburbs and satellite cities, you'll find they're really interesting. They've got a lot of history. They've got a lot of things to do. So, don't diss Gastonia. If you want to live away from Gastonia and get some different schooling or different cultural activities going on, look at Belmont, look at the West Charlotte area, lots of renovations. So, fantastic place Gastonia is, and I found out all about it. There's that Esquire Hotel right there. I think that might be about it. Again, if you like this video, let us know. If you didn't like it, let us know that too. If you want to see certain parts of Charlotte that we're not showing you at this point in our history of our Living in Charlotte NC video channel, please let us know. So have a great day and appreciate your time.